You are now listening to the J Ade podcast.
Getting ready to start it at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the J.I.D. podcast. It's your boy, J.I.D. This is episode 9 of the podcast, and I've been receiving some excellent feedback so far, ladies and gentlemen. Best believe we got some crazy stuff in store for y'all this week. And we have two special guests that will be discussing these things with me this week, man. Ladies and gentlemen, before I go any further, I have to plug my social media one more time for the one, and that is Joe the Great, JOETHEGR number 8, as well as my podcast page. That's J.I.D. Pod. That's J.A.D.E.P.O.D. for y'all slow-mos out there that cannot spell. But like I said before, I have two special guests on this episode. This is episode 9 of the J.I.D. podcast once again. Lady, introduce yourself first, as I always do. What's your name? Where you from?
I'm Aunty.
Auntie. Where are you from, Auntie?
I'm from Maryland.
Auntie from Maryland. Okay. Well. All right, and we have a gentleman on the show as well. What's your name, man? Where you from?
True. My name is Young Draco.
Okay.
I'm from Waldorf, Maryland.
Young Draco from Waldorf, Maryland. All right, that's what we're going to go with, man. All right, so obviously these are aliases, ladies and gentlemen, but, you know, it don't matter. I'm not going to tag them when we drop this heat for y'all one time for the win anyways.
Facts.
So,
It's
without
really
further ado,
hot.
man, this is episode 9, like I said before, J.I.D. podcast, and we're going to get the ball rolling right now. The question for this week is something that I addressed and directed to both women as well as gentlemen. And I stated it as, do you believe that having single friends of the opposite sex leads to infidelity in a relationship? Yes or no? So we had the young lady introduce herself first. So we're going to have our homie in the building state his answer first, and we're going to have her go into it right after. All right?
Cool. I'm just going to start off by saying no. I don't think it leads to infidelity. Mainly because there are certain sort of metrics that you have to take when you join a relationship. You have to sort of trust the other person. And then trust is a big thing. I feel like nowadays, especially 2019, if you don't trust your partner, there's a billion other people on this planet that you can sort of go with. So it really depends on you. I mean, you could live your life just being in fear, sort of watching and saying like, oh, do I trust this person if he goes out and socialize? Or you can just sort of live your life and just trust the person.
So for
It's
you,
simple.
you believe that if trust is an issue in any capacity, you can just replace them easily.
Correct. I mean, we live in
Easily.
We live in a society where like social media is pretty much king at this point. Like if you really wanted to sort of know what the other person is doing, you could dig.
You'll find out.
You'll find out. I mean, you could either ask them like, "Hey, can you share your location?" There's a lot of like different metrics that you can use to sort of know what your partner's up to.
But I feel like at that point, if you have to use location metrics and stuff
There's
like
no
that,
trust.
the trust is already lost, you know?
Correct. That's what I'm saying. So like, if you
If it
don't
goes that
trust
far.
if you
Yeah.
can go that far,
do that.
I think it's just better for you to just
Find somebody
exit the
else.
relationship
Okay.
at that point.
Okay. All right, Auntie, what do you think? Yes or no?
Do
Do you believe that having single friends of the opposite sex leads to infidelity in a relationship? Yes or no?
Sometimes it does, so I'm going to say yes. I'm not saying it always does,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to say yes, it can.
Okay. So you want to state why exactly you believe yes it can? You said sometimes, but I want to understand.
Yeah, so I think people come into relationships with the expectation of, oh, I can still live my life the same way, which is not 100% true. If you're about to commit yourself to another person,
Okay.
you have to be willing to drop some things. And when I say drop some things, I'm not saying drop your friends to like, you know, oh, I'm in a relationship, I'm ghosting you guys, but everything that you were doing when you were single, you can't do with your friends to the capacity that you did.
Which is fair to a certain degree.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not
Yeah.
OC. I'm not going to say, you know, you need to like be a homebody with your bae.
Okay.
But it just, in order for two people to form a bond the way they're supposed to,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be really difficult for you and your partner to see you having very close friends of the opposite sex. It might not let you progress
Interesting.
as far as you guys can get.
All right.
That is very interesting. I would like to counter that by just asking just a couple clarifying questions.
Ask Steak and Draco. Let's hear it.
All right,
Let's hear it. All right.
this is Big Draco on the mic. I'm gonna sip this yak real quick.
Nah, that's your question, man. What you got?
All right, so educated, right? Educated. You probably went to college.
I did.
Okay, so one of the biggest thing that you learn in college is the importance of networking, correct?
Of course.
Okay, so how do you perceive networking in the context of like meeting other individuals, and they have to be. I mean, it's not like you're just gonna meet all guys. You're gonna meet other like women.
Yeah.
Yes. So networking is basically the concept of like your weak ties. Right, you have your strong ties that are your friends, your people that you see every single day, you interact with, and then you have your weak ties. Also, shout out, there's this book that everybody has to read, Things That I Knew Before like I Turned 30. There's a bunch of books.
Who's it by?
Things that I knew before I turned 30.
He's about to pull up the book right now. He got it on him. He's strapped with the knowledge, man.
Of course, I gotta have my knowledge. So it's called Defining the Decade. Why your 20s matter and how to make the most of them now.
It's called The Defining Decade.
Yeah, The Defining Decade, yeah. And there's another book called Grit that I think everyone should read. Just educate yourself because it teaches you like valuable life lessons that help you in your future.
Okay.
So one of the biggest things I've learned in my 20s is the importance of networking, right? Even if it's the opposite sex, your weak ties are going to be the ones that sort of define your life,
of course,
in a weird way,
yeah,
because everyone that you sort of introduce yourself to, your next job opportunity, 90% of the time is gonna come from a weak tie.
I agree.
The fact that you sort of like define your life according to like your relationship status and according to not wanting to sort of like make friends with other people from a different sex, that's sort of backwards. You're sort of limiting yourself of job opportunities, investment opportunities, like even becoming for weak ties to grow into strong ties.
So you're taking,
assuming that you're assuming that I'm not a networker because I'm in a relationship and I'm a huge networker.
Oh, speak on it. Wait. Okay, so let's back up real quick. Auntie just said live that she is in a relationship. So she's in a relationship. How long you been in a relationship for now, Queen?
Almost 2 years.
Okay. And what about you, homeboy? You in a relationship or not? Yes or no?
Same.
Oh man, we got two people in relationships right now.
So you just made the very dangerous assumption. I don't network.
Speak on it.
Because I'm in a relationship.
Speak on it.
That's not necessarily true. What I'm saying is the context is if you make friends with people of opposite sex while you're in a relationship, that's a detriment to you eventually cheating, to you eventually doing a lot of like wrong.
So you're giving an example of a situation where you wouldn't potentially cheat, which would be networking. But
yeah.
I mean, that's not necessarily true though, bro, because you can definitely cheat with a coworker. You know what I'm saying? You never know till you know.
And when I heard the this question, I took it as, I mean, you can cheat with anyone, but I took it as like primarily like those super duper close friends. Like for me, if I have a male friend that's close, my boyfriend knows about him. Like my boyfriend he's going to have a relationship with them because that person is a part of my life.
Right.
And I'm so close. I feel like if you're in a relationship and you have a friend of the opposite sex, and this is to the close friends. I can't really speak to like the far like weak ties, all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
You're gonna want. I think it would be advisable to let your significant other also be friends.
Okay.
Because that gives them security and assurance. Like.
Okay, so you mentioned that you want your significant other to be friends with your male friends, right? So let's say in a situation where your significant other has attempted to become friends with one of your male friends who's been in your life before your significant other, and they are beefing.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that so? You gonna cut off the friend at that point? You gonna cut off the significant other?
So if I'm seeing my significant other, like we're going to marriage, I'm definitely gonna think twice.
You gonna cut off the friend?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna try to mend whatever is there.
But if it's not mendable, like they're like next time they see each other, they trying to fight type moves, like you know what I'm saying?
My significant other wouldn't do that, but
that's a black king right there. You know that.
That's wild. That's wild. That's wild.
I love you. Now, wow. Don't get it twisted. Love is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, right.
But he wouldn't do that. But I wouldn't. Yeah, me and him can't be friends anymore.
So you cut off the friend. What about you, young Draco? If you're in a situation where your girlfriend, you know what I'm saying?
If it's leading to marriage.
So if it's like something like in the early phases and you're seeing that your dude is beefing with your homie, you gonna keep the homie and dub the dude.
Yeah.
All right. So what you think, young Draco? In a situation where so we'll split it up the same way she just split it up, right? So if it's a close friend that you've known for a minute and you haven't really known shorty for a minute, you cutting off the close friend or you cutting off the new shorty?
Really depends who's causing more trouble, to be honest.
Give me a good example of a reason why you would keep your shorty over the friend.
So I would keep my shorty over my friend if my friend is just wilding out. Like, he's just doing the most. He's like, yo, like, you never want.
This is a she. This is a girl.
Oh yeah. Especially if she's acting like, yo, I don't want to spend any time with her. I don't want to like do anything. I don't want to be friends.
Why would she be doing that? If
No.
This
This is the girl. Like, if we are buddy, and she starts coming at me.
Your close friend is a girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if my close friend is a girl and she's coming at me sideways just because you're like, yo, I never see you, this, that, and the third, and started making excuses and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, you're bugging. Like, it's not because I have a girl. It's because you're expecting way too much from me.
Yeah.
I don't have the time in the day.
Set those boundaries.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like, I have boundaries, and if you're feeling the type of way about me spending time with my girlfriend, that's weird to me. That's definitely weird to me. But if my girl that I just recently met is like tripping over somebody that I've known for a long time and I'm friends with, bro,
you're probably gonna dub this shorty.
I'm gonna dub my girlfriend because that's just too much. Like, you have to understand, like, my world views are like, yo, you define your life, your relationship. I would never let another person sort of like define what I can and cannot do.
But
that also segues into the idea of like, it sounds like literal control, bruh. Like, if somebody is dead ass telling you you can't be friends with someone,
blah blah blah, yeah,
that's dead ass control.
I think that's something that's common in our generation. I feel like a lot of people, especially, I feel like it's more common with males actually. I think males are a lot more insecure about the idea of girls having male friends.
Exactly.
But I would say that, I mean, obviously insecure. No, so I'm saying like me, right? Let's say I have a shorty. I feel like I, as a guy, would be more insecure about her having male friends than she would be about me having female friends. But at the same time, don't get me wrong though. I feel like women for sure are definitely like off some like, oh, who's your little friend that you talking to and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I would say that guys are a little bit like, what's more to Draco's point, I think they're a little bit more, I guess, controlling in that aspect.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's
I
not
guess,
normal.
And it's
no,
not,
I agree, it's not normal. Yeah,
but I don't want to condone controlling relationships. I don't. If you are in an abusive relationship, make sure you're leaving. Somebody should not be controlling you.
Right.
But I will say, in most of my male friends that I've had, like over the course of a few years, I will say our friend, they didn't come to me because they wanted to be friends. Like, they came to me with like an interest of, oh, like, what's up? I'm trying to holla, like, you know, whatever. And for whatever reason, one thing or another didn't work out, and we defined like our boundaries to be friends. Right. So, I mean, you know, men, they know, like, they're like, oh, I know how this guy's feeling. Like, they have that instinct. Like, you know what I mean? And so I don't want to say it's all the way an insecurity, because I don't.
It's somewhat validated to a certain degree.
Sometimes it is, but I definitely think there's levels. Like, I'm very like, if your woman is grounded and she can set her boundaries, then you shouldn't be controlling her, because she can handle her own.
I think to a certain degree, obviously, you know, people are going to be a lot more insecure in a situation where the friendship was built from, you know, something that was more than friendship initially.
Yes.
So I feel like in that situation, obviously, you know, people are going to be a little bit more skeptical and, you know, really think like, oh, like maybe this might turn into infidelity, because at one point these two people were, you know, feeling each other to a certain degree. You know, especially
if the two people have had sex before.
Facts.
That is very difficult to look past.
Exactly. I think that plays into it too, for sure, actually.
Yeah, and with the way our generation is going,
everybody's fucking.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I know you're making a face, but like, how would you feel if you dapping up some dude and he fucked your girl before?
Hey, I mean, that's how life be, bruh.
But
shit.
Yeah, but
for real,
like, you feel a little off. I know, but you feel a little like off. Like, you're telling me you don't feel no type of way. I think
it really all boils down to like you as a person. Like, do you have your maturity? Do you have, like, are you able to sort of look past that? I think people get way too caught up in the midst of like what's going on, and I think social media is a huge problem. Social media definitely expands the problem of like, yo, like, I have to have this, that, and the third in my relationship, or I'm not living up to like what people expect of me. You know, like standards, basically. And that is a horrible way to sort of want to live life. Like, you do not want to sort of match the energy that people put on social media. That's the wrong way about going it. First of all, I'm not going to say like your relationship is a dub, but if you're judging your relationship of what people say on Twitter, it's already a dub.
But I feel like a lot of people in our generation definitely take into account a lot of what's said on Twitter, just in terms of like, you know, I've made this point before on like past episodes about, standards of dates and like what's considered to be a date, who should be paying for what, and things like that. So I think that's something that people on social media definitely put into account a lot too. And then people also have a lot of comments about social media in terms of the whole cheating thing too, and like what they would do and what they wouldn't do in that situation where they got cheated on.
Bro,
and honestly, before you even say that, bro, it's so crazy to me because we're gonna talk about it right now, man. We're gonna talk about it.
All right.
First of all,
let's go about all that.
Okay. No. A lot of people on social media, especially,
You
are
lost
talking
my
all
attention.
this like. A lot of people are talking about how like
It's up to no good.
for real. Nah. Okay. So now, but to my point though, I think a lot of people on social media talk about how, oh yeah, if somebody cheat on me, I'm leaving for sure. Like I'm out. I'm
You talking
out.
about women saying these?
Women and men. Yo, I actually saw a tweet today saying too that
They don't know that.
misogyny has kind of gotten people thinking that it's only women that take men back, but men be taking these women back too.
Hell
and
yeah.
that's the
They
fact.
do.
And social media be off some like, oh nah, I'm leaving your ass if you cheat on me. But
Boy,
that's not the
that nigga
case.
is
And I would
calling
also
back.
like to make a note.
Uh-huh.
Queen Beyonce got cheated on.
Okay.
This a
okay.
big fact.
I don't like.
That's a big fact.
And
Okay.
she stayed.
Bro,
I
it's
really-
all in
hold
the
on.
intimate details.
Hold on.
All right, you got it.
I really dislike that people always use Beyonce
Hey, let's
as
talk
the
about it.
like standard.
Hey, that's
For-
black women on social media for y'all,
Yeah,
man.
I know.
They-
No, and it's really like to me, it's really stupid because y'all are basing a standard based on how this woman looks. She's not the only. Like there are
Damn.
so many beautiful women around.
You right.
There are women that quote unquote look. I'm not saying there are. Let me rephrase this correctly. There are women that
Take your time.
society. Yeah. I kind of these people call my choke on this one.
Your name is Kuka Auntie now.
Yeah. But anyways, there are women who, according to society standards,
Look better than her.
look worse than Beyonce,
uh-huh.
and they never got cheated on.
Yeah.
So why are we sitting here holding this to a standard? Like I know she.
Oh, so you're saying that people are tying that to the fact that she got cheated on?
Yes,
saying,
and
she looks
yes,
too good to be
yeah, she
cheated
looks
on.
too good. She's too her hips, her boobs, her
Nah,
face.
yeah.
She's so
Bugging.
successful. Why would anybody get
Bugging.
cheated on
That's a fact.
at
That's a-
any fucking time?
That's a whole fact, bro.
So
Yeah.
stop measuring. Like I really get annoyed every time I see that on Twitter. I'm like, damn, like these bitches is dumb because like it's so many girls
Yeah.
and so many women that society believes looks worse than Beyonce who have never experienced
Gotten cheated on,
the
yeah.
traumatic
exactly.
events of being
of
cheated
cheat-
on.
yeah,
So
exactly.
why are we sitting here using Beyonce as the standard?
But I guess in that situation, like, I guess Jay-Z cheated with somebody that she didn't know, I think, anyway. It sounds like some white shit, right?
I don't know.
Bro,
That whole Becky situation.
It
anyway,
goes
this-
back to my
Yeah.
point. Like, if you're gonna, like, yo, deadass, if somebody's gonna cheat, they're gonna cheat, regardless
That's a
of
fact.
like
And-
if it's a close tie, like weak tie, strong tie.
It's
If they're
usually a
gonna
close
cheat,
tie.
they're gonna cheat.
It's usually a close tie.
That's why I think it's false. Like, I really think
What do you
if
mean?
we did like a experiment, deadass, you will find that it really doesn't matter
If it's a close friend or not. That's
If
what
it's
he's saying.
if
That's
it's
what
a close friend or
It's
not, it
somebody in
really
your
doesn't
circle.
matter.
Yeah, okay.
I don't
it
think
might not
it's-
be a close friend.
See, but like, all right. So think about the way a nigga would think about it, right?
Uh-huh.
So if
talk
I was
about
to
it.
cheat, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
fuck nobody.
Why the hell would I make sure it's in my circle?
Yo,
Why the
people
hell
be
wouldn't
quiet.
You'd be surprised, though.
Why-
I feel like some people don't really think that
People
shit through, though,
be
bro.
quiet. I'm telling you,
Bro.
especially when two. Yo, I've been
What I'm
around
saying
some
is-
Yeah, man.
crazy
I know.
ass niggas.
I've heard. I'm saying it's mutually exclusive. Like, it really doesn't matter. You will find niggas that cheat outside of their circle just to cover it up,
Yeah.
and dumb niggas that cheat in their circle. It's mutually exclusive. It really doesn't matter if they're close or not close.
True.
That's what I'm saying. So it really doesn't matter how close the person is. Niggas are niggas, bruh.
Okay, so I guess getting into that closeness topic, right?
Yeah.
And how close people are in reference to whether or not, you feel the threat of cheating coming. I just had a couple questions for y'all.
Yeah,
So first question would be this, right? So how close is close in terms of a friendship, right? So let's say your girl, Draco, got a close male friend, and y'all having a pregame, and she sitting up on his lap, sitting up on his lap, just kind of leaned up on him,
In front of her
everything like that,
boyfriend?
and in a pregame get together type wave, you know what I'm saying? How would you feel? And would that make you any more suspicious of the potential of her cheating on you? Just that scenario. She's sitting on the nigga's lap. We're gonna get to you right next, Auntie. I want to hear your opinion on it too. But what you think, bro? Would that make you any more skeptical?
First of all, That's not gonna happen.
Hey, my man hanging out the law.
That's not gonna happen.
Hey.
Just because I trust my girl. Like,
Okay.
I know she's not gonna do something like that. And she knows in a public setting, that's embarrassing for both of us. She's not gonna do that because people will look around like and start questioning and be like, yo, what the fuck is
that
going
your girl?
on?
Yeah.
Is that your girl or is
Right.
that your shorty?
Yeah. It's really a difference now.
Exactly. But
that
at
your
the same
girl?
time,
Differences there?
Yes, now. If that's your girl, that's your shorty. You know what I'm saying? Shorty's like,
exactly. But on the flip side, like if that actually happened,
yeah.
that is a supreme dub.
Like you would break up with her that night.
No, we would have a conversation, and depending on the answer.
And what if she's like, you know what? Nah, nigga, we have some shit tomorrow. I'm sitting on his lap again because I'm grown.
Then I know for a fact she don't give a fuck, and I can easily dub her. What?
Okay. Interesting. All right, Auntie, what you think? So let's say you're a man, right? You know what I mean? Y'all having a little get together, whatever the case may be, man. Y'all just hanging out as friends after church right before Game of Thrones, just chilling.
Okay.
And his best friend comes through. Whatever.
Shout out my man Jamie Lannister, boy. That's a real motherfucker, man.
Boy, yeah, that's not the best character on the show, but it's not a Game of Thrones podcast. So we're gonna continue. So let's say a situation like y'all chilling, after church, whatever, Game of Thrones, about to come on, y'all chilling, and your man's homegirl comes through, and she, just casually sitting on his lap, sipping some wine. What are your thoughts? Like, does that make you any more skeptical? No matter how long he's known her for.
I'm skeptical as hell.
Wow.
Why is she sitting on your damn
But I mean,
lap?
you said, but then you made the point of childhood friends versus like somebody that it was something,
Okay,
it was some
we
history
ain't
before.
6 years old no
That's
more.
why I
What
said,
you sitting
why
on my
would-
nigga lap for?
So at that point, would you dub the nigga, or was it
I mean,
like
I'm not dubbing him. I'm
conversation
gonna ask him after what was going on in his own brain that he thought.
that he allowed it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But what if it was just so
What did
shocking
she-
that he didn't know how to react? Like he was just like, wow, like I'm so taken aback by the fact that
I'm gonna
Shorty's
say,
sitting on my
wow,
lap
nigga,
right
you're
now.
fucking dumb. Like,
Damn.
don't let that happen again.
Or we done.
Sheesh.
Or we
That's
done.
crazy.
It's a wrap.
I mean, like, because if the roles were reversed, I'm speaking for my boyfriend. I don't know about, like,
I don't even know about my man, okay?
he would definitely, like, I'm getting a text, like, in the room. He's addressing that on spot. He gonna look at me. He's gonna
So
do
you gonna
something.
keep that same energy though?
What do you mean? I would never sit on a guy's lap, ever.
No. I'm saying like if that ass actually happened, you would keep the same energy. Like
In what
you would,
sense? Like, I would be mad?
Yes.
Like, if my man was sitting on another girl's lap,
Yes.
I would be livid, like, pissed.
True.
Nah, yeah, I think
That's
at
disrespectful.
At that point, it kind of what like my man's Draco said. I think I would hope that if I were in a relationship with a woman, that she wouldn't like violate me like
that's
that.
a requirement.
Publicly,
That's
you
not
feel me?
hope. That's
Like,
a
no. I
requirement.
mean, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? But like, especially now that we're in this era where like everybody's like, oh, like you're not
That's
about to
my
regulate.
brother.
You're not about to regulate what I do. Blah blah blah. I'm grown.
No.
Blah blah blah. It ain't even like that. And if you
See,
think it's like
yeah.
that, then you can step.
And that's why everybody's single.
For real though. Hey, I mean everybody's
when
single
you're in a
because everybody got
relationship-
commitment issues, but that's
That's another-
that's a conversation for another day.
Because when you're in a relationship, you have to respect your significant others, like just their presence, their overall, like, just their opinion, and you
Right.
should be able to know if your significant other is comfortable with that. Maybe people, like some couples, their trust is like on a godly level, and that is okay. But for me, like, I just,
And I guess that ties back into what you were saying about, when you get into a relationship, there's a shift in behavior, right?
that's what I'm
So
saying.
there's a sense of, although this might have been something that was cool before,
That is not okay.
it's not cool now that you're in a relationship because my girl will feel some type of way. So, okay, so does it matter? Let's say, right, you weren't in the room. So I gave y'all the example of y'all, all right, I'm saying y'all had a get together and y'all witnessed this. Let's say y'all didn't witness it. Like, it happened privately and like, your significant other came back, later that day, like, yo, by the way, like, we were at blah, blah, blah's house for whatever and blah, blah, blah sat on my lap or I sat on blah, blah, blah's lap. Would that make you hurt any differently? The fact that you were able to, see it happen versus hearing about it?
I think hearing about it would be better. So
I mean, because they confessed, right? They didn't have to confess about that.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about, I think actually seeing it would make me mad. But if I'm hearing about it, I'm like, okay, like, let's talk about it. How did that happen? I want play by play. I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be annoyed. But then at the same time, I mean, I can't just dub you because of that.
More understanding, right?
Yeah. And I won't dub you even if I saw it.
Okay.
I'm going to address it.
Okay. Okay, what you think, bro? So, a situation where she confessed, she did not have to tell you, but she told you, bro, like, yo, I was, lapped up with homeboy. You know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about no Uber either, bro. I'm talking about, like, in the crib, like, yo.
That's weird to me.
Lapped
like,
up. And I ain't talking about no thigh action. I'm talking about straight meat.
Yeah, no, disrespectful.
Straight
That is so disrespectful.
Nah, what you think, bro?
All right, so if that happened, I honestly, I'd be like, yo, like, what was going through your head? Like, why did you think that was, like, cool? That's the main question.
You would be less angry because it did not happen in front of your eyes.
Not
right?
really. I mean, it depends on the end. Yeah, I would just be just as not angry, disappointed.
But would that not make you trust your significant other more? The fact that they felt the need to tell you, they really didn't have to share that information with you, bro.
They didn't have to share the information. I give them credit, but it doesn't take away the disappointment.
Okay.
Because you know the type of person I am.
Right.
Right. Especially if you're in a relationship, you're trying to commit to this person. You're trying to sort of like be with this person. I'm not talking about marriage, but I'm saying like for the time being, you're trying to get to know this person. You're trying to develop rapport, and you're trying to build up to marriage.
Right.
So this person knows you already and knows you'll be uncomfortable with that. So to go
like
out of the blue, go out of the blue and do that.
It's
for me, I don't think it's disrespectful. I would never say it's disrespectful, but it just doesn't vibe with like my views. So I would question it. I'm not saying you're in the wrong for doing that. You got to do what you got to do. And that's a segue into another question that I have for Auntie.
Auntie, well done. No, ask the question.
So if you're in a situation where your boyfriend, it's not life or death, but this is how he sort of advanced their career. So a lot of like what I'm starting to notice, especially depending on the industry you're in, it's all dependent on how you can network and bring rapport and then bring like people work in, not even people, but work in like business. Contracts, businesses. That's just how businesses work.
Value.
So a touchy subject for me and him.
Ooh.
So in the scenario, I'm not saying he's out there doing dirt, but we know how corporate America is. Right. We're all black in corporate America. We know that it's just not built for us. So we have to sort of find our way.
A way around
and
it.
then sometimes it means like going out of your means to sort of develop relationships that can sort of further your career.
Okay.
Would you be accepting if your man right now was like, yo, I'm not going to cheat on you, but I'm going to go on this date with this girl just because she has valuable information I need to like retain.
I mean, yeah, like he should be comfortable.
But what if he actually calls it a date though?
Like this is a risky scenario that this girl might be into him.
But I'm saying like, okay, so let me piggyback on that, right? So he could just call it a dinner. But you know what I'm saying? In order to advance himself in the workplace. No, and we're flipping the script a little bit too, because I feel like, typically women are painted in this light. But now we're going to paint it the men in this light for a second here and say, yo, this dude is putting himself in this position, flirting with her heavy and everything like that.
For us.
And, y'all trying to, build as a family. He's trying to, level up in the company.
Honestly, I can't lie. I would be like a little apprehensive. I would definitely make sure I set like we have to set like the expectation of this
meet up.
What is going to happen, what is not going to happen.
Okay.
I think actually men do it all the time, and men do a really good job at it because they've been trained since very young men to just lead people on. So,
wow.
Wow. So this is practice for you guys. Like this is nothing. Like this is a warm up.
Wow.
Like, so I'm serious. So no, seriously.
No, let it do.
So you should know how to handle yourself accordingly. If you could do all that dirt you was doing in college with people. This ain't nothing different. Get your coin, but please just bring your head.
Just don't do anything with her.
Yeah.
What if he's like, yo, man, I need to give her this farewell kiss now in order for her to. You got a contract to seal.
All right. What if she said, yo, Shorty is like a big player. We about to get this $250 million contract, but I need to lay pipe.
Lay what?
Lay pipe. You
said.
Lay pipe.
Like, why are you guys making it like that?
Hey, I mean, he made it like that. I ain't making it like nothing.
$250 million?
This is real life. This is actually real life.
Is it just once?
Yeah, this is just once.
I feel like I'm gonna be judged.
You want to say yes?
$250 million.
That's what I'm saying.
Money,
yo, bro, when I'm saying
Honestly, and I feel like if any girl is listening to me like, ooh, you raunchy, please, $250 not $5.
Bro, cheat on my ass.
It's not $5.
When
I'm sorry.
push
If
comes
anybody
to
says
shove,
that
bruh.
shit, they fucking lying. Like, I'm sorry, they fucking lying.
What I'm saying is, when push comes to
$250
shove,
is a lot of money.
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not. I feel like sometimes people jump into a relationship without the understanding of like, yo, what you're getting into.
Right.
Like, when push comes to shove, you gotta do some shit. I'm not saying that's
It's
all
right,
relationship.
yeah.
I'm not saying it's right, but
And that
people
isn't all
get pushed.
relationships.
People get pushed to their like limit in relationships.
Yeah. It's like, where do you draw the line? Yeah.
Yeah.
People act like relationships are such an easy thing to
It
do,
is not
but it's
easy.
not. It's
Yeah,
actually
but-
like a lot of work. That's why people strategically avoid it. That's why there's so many single
Yeah.
people.
That's kind of my vibe
It's,
right now.
Because it's a lot of work. But once you get beyond that work, it becomes so much easier. Once you actually trust this person.
But I mean,
But it's so
Shout out to my
difficult.
shorty. Love that girl.
Yeah,
She
okay.
puts up so much with me. She puts up an incredible amount, and I will admit that right now on this
Hey,
podcast.
hey.
She puts up so much with me, and she knows she does. But at the same time, she knows we're building something that's gonna sort of transcend. And let me just reel this back real quick. That's how black folks used to be in the past. Like this wasn't like a.
Abusive relationships.
I no. I'm
Black
not saying.
people
I'm
in
not
the
saying.
past were pretty
Oh,
abusive.
of course. But I'm not saying this is like.
Sheesh.
I'm. All right. Maybe. Yeah. You're definitely right. I'm not gonna.
Self-care.
I'm not gonna take.
I just saw a thread about that
good.
on Twitter the other day.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take the good and ignore the bad. There's definitely
Yeah.
bad aspects to it,
You sound like
but
the
the
good
good
right now. Yeah.
was like we were able to get through a lot of stuff. I mean, we're both like frat dudes, and you're in a sorority. A lot of the shit that people had to go through back then was purely based of like disadvantage.
Yeah.
Disadvantage compared to like white people, disadvantage compared to like everybody else.
Right.
And you know how we made it out? We sort of stuck together
together.
and took the licks when we could.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing. So
Yeah.
I take that into relationships. I'll take the licks when I can. I'll support like my girl when I can,
No,
but
I
she
feel
also
that.
supports me when I can. And that goes back to this sort of like narrative of like you can have women of opposite sex. You just got to trust your guy.
Okay, let me just go back and say to our point and this
Address it.
conjunction.
Address
let me
it.
that,
Address it.
please.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not all couples go through what we are talking about.
Of
like,
course,
all
that's
that,
true,
like,
that's true.
That's
that's
right.
like
The
the
storms.
10, not even the 5 or the 1% that are able to, that need to be doing those things because of that.
Right.
So don't go and think that we're telling you
Yeah.
for change, oh, please. Go and get your second
Shorty's
job.
out here letting their nigga cheat for one stack.
That is not happening.
for a stack.
Yeah. So like,
McDonald's cheeseburger.
yeah. So yeah, that's not what we're doing. But I just hope people understand where I'm coming from. Like, I'm a realist.
Okay.
I'm not gonna sit there and
Sit
imagine.
in La La Land, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of girls are in La La Land.
I hate it,
sorry.
honestly. Like,
I'm not even gonna lie. As a woman, like, and I hear people talking about, I want to get in a relationship, this, that, there. Like, are you ready for the conversations that come with a relationship?
Right.
Some girls are like, I want to, like, prime example, the I can have it all woman.
Mhm.
Like,
yeah.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, like
it's-
some things you cannot have it all. Like, some things have to give, and that is
Yeah.
what a relationship is. It
Right.
is moving moving the, I don't know, like
Goalpost.
yeah, the post in different areas so
Right.
that your partner can make the goal.
Yeah.
And whoever's on what side, it depends on you.
Everybody
Just adjust.
benefits.
Yeah.
And you know who
You are a
exemplifies
team.
that? You know who exemplifies that?
Don't say Beyonce and Jay-Z.
No.
I was about to say.
Michelle Obama, literally in her book, shout
Yeah,
out
yeah.
Becoming, everybody has to read that.
Mhm.
She tells about sort of the narrative of like, you can't have everything, bruh.
You
It's not
cannot,
realistic.
Especially as a black woman.
Yeah.
Be realistic. I'm not saying that you have to choose what you are going, like, what are you willing to prioritize?
Right.
And that's not even as a black woman, just as anyone.
Mhm.
What are you willing to prioritize? Some people are gonna get married tomorrow. They were ready for
Right,
that. They
right.
put their energy into the relationship to make that commitment.
Right.
Like, some people are gonna be millionaires before they're 25.
Yeah.
They was up all night grinding while other people was boo.
I mean, some weren't. Granted, I mean, shout out Blueface. And people like that.
No,
That nigga blew up overnight,
I
literally.
sometimes go to Bessie's I mean, like,
Niggas
you
had
really,
Tatiana's on deck.
you really gotta choose what you invest your time in. Of
Right.
course, you know, some people win the lottery, but that's not everyone. So everyone in this regular bucket really has to pick and choose what they want. Just going back to that relationship, you know, dilemma. We were talking about the 250 mil. I ain't just letting my man do anything with anyone.
Okay, and that's even in the professional circle. So just kind of looping it back to the friend aspect, right? So we discussed, you know, friends that we've known for a long time versus you know friends that kind of were birthed out of you know a finesse situation that no longer happened, kind of thing, right? So let's say this is a friend that is a known hoe, male or female, somebody who is legitimately like, you know what I'm saying. Just out here, just, you know what I'm saying, getting pipe, laying pipe, type beat.
Fuck.
At that point, it's like, you know, it's like your friends, this is your significant other's close friend.
No.
At that point, I mean, Draco made the point that if you're going to cheat, you're going to cheat, right? But in a situation like that, the friend is much more likely to make a move on you just off the strength of their history. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Obviously, people make the argument that, you know, not everybody is that person's type.
That out.
But, you know what I'm saying? To a certain degree, I feel like if you were in your girl's shoes, right, Draco, like, would you not think like, yo, damn, man, like, shorty has a history of, like, you know, stealing people's man. At that point, is she justified for being skeptical?
Bro, I feel like you really gotta sort of trust the person that you're getting in a relationship.
But I feel like at that point, bro, it's past his trust, bro.
Uncle, you gotta distrust.
No. At that point in time, it's like, all right, bro, like, you gotta be a little bit skeptical.
That's what I'm
Because at the end of the day, it's like,
saying.
I mean, obviously, you know, in an ideal relationship, you're gonna want to be trusting of the person because you're like, yo, bro, I trust you, and I know you're not gonna disrespect me enough to make me look stupid out here. But at the same time, if this is a friend that is known as a homewrecker,
can we also like talk about?
So dub the friend.
But I mean, it's easy. I feel like that's also easier said than done as well, because I feel like, you know, there's situations where I've heard where, you know what I'm saying, you dub the friend because the friend is getting a little bit too friendly, and that friend is like, what you mean you about to dub me, like, blah blah blah, like,
We've been riding.
Yeah. And then they try to, you know, I guess put the full court press a little bit more on you at that point.
If they full court press, you just take the ball, toss it over, and then walk off the court. Nigga, what?
Hello, okay.
Bruh.
What were you gonna say?
Yeah, when he brought up trust, I was gonna say we have to be a little careful with that word trust.
Okay.
Just because you trust someone doesn't mean you should sit there and put them in a situation where they might fail in all in the name of trust.
Blind trust.
I get that.
That's
blind
not,
trust.
Yeah,
I get that.
that's not sensible. That trust is supposed to be like used in situations where it's like, this is a reinforcement. Like, oh, like if this is gonna happen, like I don't know it's gonna happen, but
right.
I, you know, like I can whip out my trust sword. But like that, like no, like seriously. But like if you, that's not going into a lion's den with a little dagger, like no, you about to get eaten, like be sensible. You can't just say, oh yeah, I got trust, like I'm good, you're a man. And also, can we just go, you're a man, she's a woman, and then let's go back. Ooh. If you're a close friend with somebody, you like, let me think of how to address this.
Okay.
You already find that person attractive enough to be around. You find that person attractive enough to involve them in your life. So,
attractive, like physically attractive?
It could be some people.
Oh, because I was about to say, I definitely have friends that are
it's
not
not always.
Yo,
Yo, but why do people be finding people? Why do people end up sleeping with people that they don't find fully attractive? Something attracted them to them.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
They have already passed that surface level of attraction.
Yeah, right.
So they are around you for some reason or another.
Okay.
So they are like, if you have a close friend who always, you know, busting it open, like, like it's gonna be a little difficult to be very close to her because eventually she might be busting. Like,
try to steal your man.
Exactly.
Try and bust it open.
So I'm a little weary of that trust. Like that trust is supposed to be used for like, if I'm going into a blind room and I don't know what's really going on, I have trust. I can really cling to like the faith I have in my trust. But like, just knowingly putting myself in that situation or knowingly putting my partner in that.
But I feel like to a certain degree, the fact that you feel the need to remove, you know, the friend, doesn't that kind of like as a significant other, wouldn't you feel like, wow,
that is trust?
you don't trust me, like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's like, wow, I have to remove my friend because you don't trust me to control myself.
To control yourself.
But it might not be you controlling. It might not be you needing to control yourself. Like, you don't control your dick standing up. If you see something you like, it's gonna stand up.
No. The control comes in like me not acting upon it.
But everybody says that until they in the situation.
I definitely know a lot of dudes that don't cheat though. Like, my boy Draco right here, like, you know what I'm saying? He does not cheat. He's not a cheater. And, like,
it's not for.
You know what I'm saying?
Also, shout out Arya, man. She went in with the little dagger. She went in with the little dagger. She was like,
spoiler alert. Hey, by the time this joint drops, niggas might not have watched it yet, bro.
Yeah,
so
but
let's
like,
chill on the spoilers.
I don't know. I'm not saying I don't trust you, but like, I don't want to put you in that situation for that to even happen. Like, and this has to be extreme circumstances.
Okay.
I'm not that overprotective partner who is just gonna remove everybody
from your life.
Yeah.
See,
it's
but
just
even
me and you.
even listening to that, you're like, I'm not gonna put you in that scenario. You're not the holder of this person's sort of like life and like.
Let me say, I'm not going to voice my discomfort and tell you that I would not like you to
Of course, but that's also assuming that this person doesn't know what they're doing. Like, it gets into a dangerous territory of like, that's what I keep saying. It becomes a weird sort of control because this person knows what they're doing. Take for instance, like my boy, remember Lorac? Boy. Yeah. But that's also taken to the scenario that like this person is not competent enough to know that like, where I'm going is going to lead to a bad thing, so I should step back. I think a lot of misconception comes from like distrust comes from incompetent. You're trying to tell the person
you don't think you're able to do something,
control yourself,
or to live within the lane of my trust.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think it's necessarily that. It's just, this is making me uncomfortable. And as somebody who is in a committed relationship, you should be able to
state when you're not comfortable.
Exactly. Right. And your partner should be receptive of what you're...
What doesn't make you happy, right?
Yeah. Like...
Isolated situation.
Okay.
You can sort of voice your opinion, but that doesn't necessarily mean I have to sort of adhere to your opinion.
But I feel
have to take that into consideration.
Yes.
Listen.
Okay.
Listen. I have to take that into consideration, which I will. But what I want to do is ultimately what I want to do, regardless of that.
Charge. You are very much in charge.
Oh, it's not even about being in charge.
Or you are very much in control of your own life. I'm not trying to control you, but at the same time, if I'm uncomfortable with Shorty that's your friend, I'm gonna let you know.
I think she at least has the right to present the opinion.
If you really
voice that
care
opinion.
About me,
of course, you'll act accordingly.
Right. Exactly, and that's not control.
Can I get a little weird?
All right,
all right, bro. All right, this is about to get mad nerdy.
Wait. Do we have more questions? Because I'm liking this.
Yeah, it's flowing, man. It's flowing.
I'm about to get a little nerdy. So one of the biggest things, nerdy. One of the biggest things I've ever done in my life is play chess. Like literally chess. There's this one move, everybody can look it up. It's called a pin.
A pin.
So a pin. Yeah.
P-I-N.
P-I-N. Okay.
So a pin basically means like you're attacking like an opponent's piece through another piece.
Okay.
So that's how I sort of see this concept of like what we're talking about. This is all based This is all based on a perception.
Okay.
So there's this sort of ghost that's saying, oh, like if I'm gonna move this piece, I'm sort of eerie to move this piece because you're attacking it, but then you don't really see what's behind, the real perception behind. So everything that I'm learning right now is telling me you're basing your opinions off of like what you think the other person is gonna do.
It's not what I think the other person is gonna do.
So
what she said it's what I know because of what I see.
It's not about what I know.
Now, let's talk about
it's about how I feel, which is feelings are not accounted for in the game of chess.
But feelings,
that's something you can't measure.
No. But feelings aren't actual like tangible things that are done.
I ain't saying it's tangible, bruh, but I'm feeling it, and I'm letting you know, that you need to.
But how is that fact?
It's not about fact, and that's where I think you're veering off from, especially being in a committed relationship. It's not always about fact. It is emotions play a very, like, sometimes if if my boyfriend today came to me and said, yo, I'm uncomfortable with this, actually, we're going through this kind of right now. My friend, who I've been really close to, boyfriend's like, yeah, I'm not really rocking with some of the things.
Yeah.
And he has brought up factual evidence. I'm like, okay, yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But this is my man's. And he's like, okay, like, I hear you. Mind you, they're cool. They have been in the same room with each other. They have talked. But
I mean, but they could definitely be fake vibes in those circles, though.
Nah,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, even if they're fake, whatever. But on paper, they cool, whatever.
Okay.
But, like, I'm not going to sit there and blatantly disrespect my nigga because I'm sitting here trying to keep a friend, especially for somebody I've been with for 2 years.
That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about strictly is, like, you can sort of base your opinion on something that, like,
It's not true.
It's not true. What I'm saying is that, like,
And that's-
all the stuff that you're sort of worried about could not be true.
And that's
It's like a precautionary measure type thing, though.
Yes.
I get that.
Yes.
Me and my girl right now, we literally had this conversation last night. And she told me, like, yo, like, you have never given me any reason for me to ever sort of feel this way about
That's
you. Like,
because you
I
act
don't.
accordingly. Some niggas abuse
No,
that
bruh.
shit.
Yo, bro. Like, so rat, bruh. Like, we honestly turn up all the time. I go to park all the time. You know why?
Shout out Parker.
Of course, yo, shout out my nigga KD, of course.
I bet.
Hey, but
out to
what
niggas
I'm
like
saying is that, like, if you act, to your point, if you act accordingly, like, yo, like, if you don't give your other significant other, like, any reason to doubt you, they're not gonna doubt you. That insecurity, I really feel like stems from, like, a place of, like, not sort of projecting your
I do believe it is
your
insecurity.
fears.
Projecting.
It's like-
So, Auntie, would you say that this is sort of you projecting what you would do, and as a result, you find it difficult to see what your man would do if placed in your shoes?
Correct.
Damn, that's deep.
I
Oh,
no,
Like-
sorry. Okay. So I hear what you're saying, and it makes complete sense. It definitely does stem from insecurity. I
Okay.
will not lie.
Okay, I respect that.
You signed up to be with this person.
Yep.
That I agree with.
That
I agree
You
with.
are committed to this person, so
Right.
you have to make them comfortable.
Right.
You are in a relationship, and if that person, even if it's because of an insecurity, unfortunately, it's an insecurity.
Okay.
You can't do anything about it right now. Maybe.
I mean, to a certain degree. I mean,
you
obviously,
can.
there's
Insecurities
some
don't disappear overnight.
Of course,
they are
right,
very
yeah.
necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing about it right now. But what you can do right now is alleviate your significant other's stress.
By at least listening and try to act
Yes,
accordingly.
and act accordingly.
And I agree with that.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what your chess game is not measuring.
Because there's that, I guess, that feelings factor and like that kind of emotional, like
They
what's the word?
can't
What's the word?
see.
Emotional intelligence, being able to.
I don't
guess,
even think it's intelligence.
I think it is because, like,
Yeah,
in
it is.
terms of like,
It definitely is.
yo, I'm saying this to you about how I feel, and you should know that by you acting accordingly, you're making me feel secure.
It's all about security and assurance.
Right. And I feel like women, especially, I feel like women definitely, seek security in relationships for sure. Definitely more than men for sure.
Yes.
As well.
But that also
Men
goes
do
back
too.
to
No, I said more than men.
Oh,
Men
okay,
definitely
okay.
look for security as well. But I would say like knowing that this man is somebody I can trust. I think is something that women value more.
I get that. But that also gets back to like the episode. Remember last episode where Annie brought up the point that, like, I think in certain scenarios women want their cake and want to eat it too.
Right.
Where is it gonna get to the point where
Women.
like, yeah, no,
think that's-
legit.
Let's hear the point. Let's hear it.
No,
Let's hear it.
legit.
Let's hear
I
it.
think women want to have their cake and eat it too, which
hear
is
it.
understandable. I definitely feel like in the generations leading up, women have been underprivileged, underserved, and have been sort of at the bottom totem pole, especially black women.
Yeah.
And it's unfair. The catching up, crazy. I really think, and you look at statistics, some of the crazy growing household income, black women. Some of the crazy, like, literally, some of the wildest things that we could ever imagine,
Right.
it's not coming from black men.
Yeah.
It's literally coming from black women.
That's true.
What do you
paving a way for the
accomplishments.
next accomplishment.
Oh, yeah.
Like, going, becoming lawyers, doctors, like all this,
all
like
those
metrics
yeah.
are in the
A
favor
lot
of
of
black women.
women, yeah.
Right.
And I get that. What I'm saying is that doesn't necessarily have to sort of impact the way we sort of view each other as like partners.
Right.
What I'm saying is you don't necessarily have to say, yo, I see that like this your interaction with like this particular like set of women
Wait, you kind
are
of asked me. So how does someone's accomplishment translate to that?
no. That's
I
what
think,
I'm talking
I think
about.
it was getting into the point. Right?
Yeah, I'm
sorry.
getting into the point.
Yeah.
So what I'm
say it.
saying is that like with all those accomplishments, that should not sort of detriment like the views that we have of each other as black women and black men.
Okay.
I love the idea of the black woman succeeding.
Okay.
I love the idea of my girlfriend that I love succeeding.
Who was a black woman, by the way, ladies and gentlemen? You know what I'm saying? My man Draco, man, black woman gang. You know,
Gang.
Black
Of course.
Is the best love.
But
Auntie
I
also has a
think-
black man as well. You know, you have to point that out as well.
I think the disconnect is sort of seeing eye to eye when it comes to this relationship things. There are certain things that can happen in the relationship that doesn't necessarily sort of have to lead you to that insecurity of like, I think there's something deeper going on.
Okay.
I think what should help is having those sort of conversations and then really understanding and getting to the root cause of like, how do we want to build? How do we want to enter this relationship? How do we want to develop? Yo, can I support you? What do you need for me to do this week to support you? Yo, can you support me? What do you need? What do I need this week to support? Like my visions, my goals. It doesn't have to be a scenario of like, damn, you can't have anybody of that other, like other sex just because like, damn, I'm sort of scared that you're about to just like jump into like cheat. It doesn't have to be that narrative.
Okay, and piggybacking off that point, right? Having that conversation and saying, it doesn't have to be, I guess a skeptical situation, right? So let's say you're having, within this conversation, you're, building trust with your significant other, and your significant other's like, you're asking them like, yo, so although you said you would never do anything with this person, I think commonly as men, especially, we have a lot of friends where, female friends, and we're not trying to bag, but it's a situation where she's throwing it, I'm catching it. You know what I'm saying?
See,
if that's the
if that's the
situation, no, but like in that situation, it's like, yo, I'm not gonna act on it, but if she's throwing it, I'm catching it. But it's like also I'm like, yo, because I feel like women love to know stuff like that, like, oh, do you think she's pretty, or oh, like, would you do anything with her, like if you weren't with me? That's how women like to paint it. If you weren't with me,
of course,
would you do anything? And if you answer, if she's throwing it, I'm catching it, then it's the issue. So I wanted to, I guess, kind of get y'all opinions on that.
I don't think it should be an issue because you asked for the.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like, especially in my experiences. I mean, obviously not all of them are like that because I've dealt with insecure women, but also dealt with like women that are secure. But I've definitely dealt with people where it's like. Not even. But like,
so you brought up a good point at the beginning of this podcast. You were
Okay.
talking about the fact that like men are generally more controlling, more sort of like they have a stigma about themselves,
Right.
And those stigmas still live this day.
Okay.
I mean, it's a problem within like black men. They have this sort of like controlling factor about themselves.
Okay.
I think that controlling factor can be alleviated if they had those conversations. So you're talking about like, if Shorty's throwing ass, I'm gonna have to catch it. Maybe you self-reflect and think about like, yo, maybe I'm in a relationship and this is not gonna be sustainable to my ultimate goal.
But it's like if you just
let me
admit it to your
not
girl,
be weak at this moment and sort of
But then you'd be lying.
substantiate.
but if you just admit it to your girl, like if you're, because that's how women always paint it, bro. That's how women always paint
You
it.
wouldn't catch it, but you really want to do it.
No, maybe not in that. No. But the thing is though, I feel like
No.
it's a line between it though, because you know what I'm saying. Like you could say like, because that's like I said, like women will paint it that way. They'll paint it as, yo,
I wouldn't even ask.
if we weren't together and Shorty threw herself at you, would you do anything with her? And if you answer honestly and say, you know what, honestly, she's throwing it, I'm catching it. You know what I'm saying?
course
At that
she's gonna
point,
feel some type of way.
she's gonna feel some type of way. But she asked that question.
Exactly.
But at that point, it's like trust is lost. Is trust not lost at that point?
It's not lost because we're not in that situation.
Yes.
And I was just playing devil's advocate. I agree that it's
Yeah.
not lost as well. If you ask that type of question, I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Some
And I'm
people
gonna say,
be asking questions they can't handle the answers.
but I feel like on the
that's
other side of things, a lot of people will definitely say like, yo, the fact that you really just said, wow, so you would really catch it. if she threw it,
That's
or
dumb
if he
logic.
came
Like
on to you.
like I'm saying, that question sort of preys on insecurity.
Yeah, for the person who asked it.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah.
That sort of preys on insecurity. So if I really am certain, all right, let me backtrack.
Backtrack.
I'm not gonna sort of talk about, because I'm talking about this perfect individual that sort of goes about the right way,
Right.
politically correct in a sense.
Okay.
But most niggas are not. What I'm saying is you have to sort of like accept a spade for a spade. It goes back to that sort of like you have to know who you're getting in bed with.
Right.
That's why most people are single, because they sort of don't want to handle the reality of things. If you know your nigga is the type of nigga that's gonna just do you dirt, why are you hopping in that relationship knowing? Because a lot of the things that I see, a lot of people, all right, I'm gonna bring it back to this Greek life.
They overlook red flags.
They overlook red flags.
Yeah.
Like they see red flags, you're like, nah, man.
Wait.
Ooh.
Wait.
Okay.
Red flags in the sense of, oh, this person used to do this and this and this, and he's gonna do that with me. I don't think that's fair, because not all men treat women, especially women that they care about,
they like,
the
yeah.
same.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They act like when men have to rise up to the occasion, they do. They just
They
don't want
do.
to with you. So I can't say it's fair for a woman to be like, well, like you did this, you a Sigma, you do this. Like it's not fair. Like you should actually give that talking period to actually see how he's acting.
How he actually is, but at the same time, hey,
so Joe the Great, I'm gonna ask you a question.
All
right. So you gonna hop in a relationship with a thought that you know is a certified thought?
Hey, I would not personally.
Why?
If you like her, you
But
like her.
No. But it's
Why?
because I don't know. I feel like there's just so much.
Insecurity.
I mean, people say that, no, and this is different, right? So I've had this conversation before on my Soul Ties one. I think that's episode 5. Definitely listen to that. Same as
Of course.
But this the idea of, no, but it's a difference. Like, obviously, I feel like I'm at a point where I'm kind of past asking people for their body count specifically.
Yeah.
However, I feel like there is a certain level of social, like a social perception of somebody that would be considered a thought that I don't want to associate myself with.
Of course. So you've refined your definition of like who you want to be with.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's fair, bro. A lot of people may say like, "Oh, wow, you're immature because blah blah blah." But at the same time, it's like, "Hey, I'm gonna keep it real."
That's baggage you don't want to deal with.
Exactly. And it's the same thing. It's like, man, I'm coming in with my own baggage. You feel me? I'm not trying to deal with your shit.
So why can't most people do that?
What do you mean?
I mean, I
Like
feel,
sort of, because they know exactly what they don't want. Why don't you sort of like want it? Because what I'm saying is there's so many people on this earth. You just gotta find if it is, because a lot of people have sort of levels to what they can accept. Physical, they want to be with a nigga with a 6-pack, like broad shoulders, yada yada yada.
right.
Why can't you do that for what you care about? Like,
Yeah.
like why can't you do that for nigga who a Russell Wilson type nigga?
When I started,
like, why can't you do that?
Those values.
That would definitely help you, bro.
Yo, niggas were filtering out very quickly. Like when
Right.
I started,
The
like
check
I
boxes.
was, yeah, like when I end of junior year, I was like, yeah, it's getting kind of old.
Junior year.
No, seriously.
Junior year. Yo, shout out to my man Oogs, bro. Bro, you know Oogs.
That's a good
Junior
time
year.
to start getting serious.
Right.
Like
And I mean, people would disagree with that though and say that junior year is way too early to get serious. However,
whatever. People who have timelines.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's timeline's different. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
People who have earlier timelines
Right.
than others. When I started really prioritizing those values, and I actually stopped caring about the physical. I mean, of course, you can't stop caring about the physical all the way, but I just lessened my requirements just a tad bit and just heightened other requirements.
Right.
I met somebody that was like 100%, 1,000% worth it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
And just to go off that. So at that moment when you felt like you've met that person 1,000%, would that same argument stand? Do you think this person, if they met another person of the opposite sex, would do you dirty based on the question that was first asked? Like,
so you met your ideal person. Would you believe that ideal person would do you the way that somebody who was not necessarily as ideal would do you?
Off the opposite sex, do you think they're
question.
gonna cheat on you?
No, my boyfriend would never cheat on me.
So I guess that feeds into Draco's
I
point
agree
then,
with
right?
you saying.
Of
People
trust,
just
right?
don't prioritize. Oh yeah.
So it's more so a matter of
don't-
picking the right person to make sure that
Yeah.
you're not put in that situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
doing some serious filtering.
serious filtering, like
Yeah.
Not
serious
even no.
self-discipline.
I don't think it's serious filtering. I think
Right.
you just gotta hold true to like what you,
And
because I
that's
feel like a
filtering
lot
out
of
niggas that ain't
Right.
worth it.
Right. Yeah,
it is filtering, but it's almost like being able to sort of like stand on your not stand on your own ground, but being able to sort of like
Hold your No,
hold
it's the
yourself
same
accountable.
thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like,
But I think it's easier to hold yourself and your significant other accountable when you know how much work you put in to find that specific person.
correct.
That's what I'm saying.
And
like,
if
now that I'm here,
you're at the point where you're sort of contemplating like, yo, is this nigga about to cheat on me if I
would
introduce
never-
him to like
my boyfriend would
my
never make me
friend?
feel like that ever.
Yo, bruh, that nigga is a dub. That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
If you have to sit there and be like, oh my god, I don't wanna post certain people on my page because he's gonna look at them or
Right.
yeah.
It reaches the point. I mean, because at the end of the day, like you said, like, you know, obviously there's looks and there's personality and things like that. If you post a nigga on your page and, you know, he's more cute than your nigga. You know what I'm saying? That nigga's like, wow, that nigga's mad cute. Like, why she posted that? You know what I'm saying? At that point, you know, I mean, but that plays into security at the end of the day.
That's what I'm saying. And
You know what I'm saying?
I definitely think people should, in this very formative period of their lives,
Right.
find somebody who can handle your insecurity.
Right.
Like if you're with somebody who yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
he brought out the book again. He brought out the book again.
We're gonna shameless plug The Defining Decade.
Hold on, let me read out the name of this book, man.
Yeah.
The book is called The Defining Decade: Why Your 20s Matter and How to Make the Most of Them Now. By Meg J, PhD.
Also, another shameless plug. Read Grit by Angela Duckworth. Please.
Sheesh, my man Draco be reading. Let's go.
Intelligent
Black
guy.
man gang.
Intelligent guy. Anyway, yeah, you gotta find somebody that can handle your insecurity and can actually like work with them, because some people also like kind of aim too high. Like you see a lot of these really pretty girls who get with these mixy ass niggas and then they're like, oh my god, like you're doing this, and they start looking crazy because they always chasing him. But it's like, you don't gotta do that. It's somebody out there that you don't gotta do that shit with, that will actually respect you and will make you, that will grow with you so you can grow out of those insecurities.
I agree.
Because that nigga who's doing all that, he don't care about you enough. He care about you, but he don't care about you enough
to respect you and
actually
act right.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
to act accordingly.
Right.
I believe if you are in a relationship, there's gonna be some tug on how you act,
right,
and how you hold yourself in certain environments. Right. You can't be like, yeah, I'm in a relationship, but I'm still myself. You cannot act the way you act before you were single.
Yeah, I agree.
You just can't.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's something that people need to really consider a lot too, because I think a lot of people kind of go into relationships without really fully understanding like kind of what Draco was saying, like what it entails, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like niggas, like I know niggas that like go into a relationship off some like, yo, shorty's bad, like
facts.
Shorty's bad. She got a job. She can dress real nice, and she goes to church on Sundays, and like that's it. But I'm like, bro, like you realize how many girls in DMV check off those same check boxes, bro?
Oh, bro.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know. I mean, both of y'all are in relationships, but I feel like that's kind of the point that I've reached to, is kind of like trying to understand who people are, you know, aside from just surface level checkbox things. Because I feel like that's a mistake a lot of people make too. It's like they have this very high level checkbox list of things, and if you cross off those things, then it's okay. Let's get into a relationship. And then once you guys get into the actual relationships, then these insecurities we're discussing really get addressed too. Because it's like, I didn't know that about you coming in.
Yeah.
I didn't know you would act this way in this situation. For example, like somebody can be sitting on somebody's lap, and you didn't know that before coming into the relationship. Like they don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Ooh,
but now,
that's what I'm saying. You gotta address that in that. I think it's still okay to have those
right. Like moments of knowledge.
Yeah. I'm talking about like before you get into the relationship. I think it's very okay to have those standard. Yeah, but you have to also like couple that with those conversations, like you were saying.
Right.
Like you need to understand what you're getting yourself into. I'm not saying be doing that for 1 year.
Yeah, no, yeah, obviously.
That's some
but
people,
like you were saying though, like people definitely have their own timelines on things. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like people can be in the talking phase for 3 years before
it's
they
not,
like. You know,
if you are okay,
I know people that do it.
I don't care what timeline you have. If you in the talking phase for 3 years, you shouldn't be with that person. Don't waste your time.
I low-key respect that, bro.
Don't waste your time because people will be like, yeah, I'm in the talking phase, but I'm still fucking other people. That's not a relationship. That's where those insecurities start coming from.
And I feel like then you have to define like what's the talking phase and like things like that. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
people have a hard time drawing those lines. Talking phase versus exclusive versus an actual relationship
it's never
and stuff
wrong
like
to
that
ask
too.
a question. It is always okay to ask a question.
I know, I think so too, but I feel like in this day and age, a lot of people are afraid to ask these direct questions because they don't want to scare away the person.
Off. If you scare them off, they're not for you.
I mean, I feel like to a certain degree, and I guess that also plays into it because I mean, and then I feel like that's easy to say too, but I think a lot of people in our generation are also very emotionally detached. So
I don't think it's emotional attached. I think they get emotionally attached before they start asking these questions.
I mean, yeah, which is true, but I feel like the person that's usually the one that detaches after the question is asked is somebody who's, you know, just generally an emotionally detached person. I feel like for the most part, women are the ones that ask that question. I think, at least.
Yeah.
What do you think? Yeah.
No, I agree. I found myself asking that question a couple times.
I don't know, man. I think it's one of those things where you kind of have to ask and live with the results of the questions.
You have to. If you're gonna be ballsy enough to ask, you better be ballsy enough to deal with the results.
And I feel like that kind of plays into the filtering of people too.
Exactly.
Because it's like, yo, like, if, like you were saying, like, you know, kind of checking off these boxes and picking somebody who you think is ideal is being able to say, can I be fully comfortable around you to the point where I can ask you these questions and not feel
some type of way.
You know what I'm saying? Dumbed down or inadequate or, you know, by the question that you're asking.
The person that cares about you when you ask these questions won't make you feel like that.
Exactly.
Even if they are not ready to fully commit to you.
Right.
They will never make you feel
I agree, man.
But people be sticking around after they've been embarrassed.
I feel that.
I don't understand why.
I see it on the timeline all the time, man. Hey, shout out to y'all sticking it through, man, on the timeline. I'm
sticking it through.
this clip right here, I'm posting it on Instagram, man. I'm talking about you, homie. I'm talking about you, young lady. Shout out to you sticking it out, man. Y'all getting cheated on in these streets.
I want sticking it out.
God damn, I want my money is my rock.
That's the wildest thing I be seeing.
Like, I'm gonna get this ring.
He knows where home is.
Niggas be acting like, yo, like they're gonna live around for 1,000 years, bruh. Life is so short, cuz. Like,
you need to make sure
what are
you're
you doing?
it.
Like, you're bugging.
But at the same time, I think that timeline aspect plays into it as well.
Yeah.
And being able to pick somebody.
Be respectful. Respect yourself.
But being able to.
Yourself.
I mean, yeah, I understand
My
respect
dad
yourself.
always told me that. Respect yourself.
I mean, yeah, for sure. Definitely respect yourself. But I think, you know, that timeline and being able to say, this is how much time I need to determine whether or not this person is right for me and whether or not, you know, I can trust this person moving forward. Because I think that really ties into the question the most.
Yeah, man. I feel like for our generation, we're literally defining relationships. Like we're sort of at the cusp.
Redefining.
Sorry,
Yeah,
redefining. My bad.
Wow, we're on the same wavelength. So it must be really redefining.
You're the back connection.
I'm so serious. We're dead ass redefining this shit. Because before us, it was like people putting up with shit that they didn't necessarily need to put up with.
Right.
But now we're at the mental capacity and we're at the success. And on top of that, we have the education and competence to be able to sort of define what we want
and branch out. Yeah, exactly. And know that people can meet those standards.
Yo, bro.
There's somebody out there for sure. You know what I'm saying?
Not even that there's somebody out there for sure. You deadass don't need to be married in this day and age.
Good point. But I personally will be getting married.
Of course. I definitely do because I understand where like marriage is coming from. But certainly it's like this age old debate, and I hate to sort of cross reference things, but certain niggas just don't need to go to college, bruh. Certain niggas don't need to make moves based on like society's opinions. Like, you can do things that are not strictly based off of what other people think. You can define what you want to do. If that means not being in a relationship, don't be in a relationship. If you want to avoid being cheated on, don't take
But I mean, I
around
feel like
the
at the
local
same-
thought and then try to show the world if you do want to.
hey, come on. I think, hey, there's definitely niggas out there that are willing to wife with what you call a local thought as well.
I was gonna, and that's what I'm saying. That's that they.
I mean, it differs based on
do
person.
that.
Like you asked me earlier, like if I would do it, I would not do it.
Yeah.
But
Yo,
I mean, people
know
are different
some
though.
people,
People
and
don't.
I see these relationships thriving.
I mean, for sure. Like
Yeah, so
I know
it's
people.
not-
Yeah. So I mean,
it's not a
different
thing.
stroke for different folks. For
There's
sure.
there's people out there that have the capacity to handle way more than I do.
Right.
And I will admit that.
Right.
There are certain people out there that are willing to get stepped on, cheated on, and that's not me, bro.
Yeah, I mean, no, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, shout out to people that's getting cheated on and like really stand.
I mean, although
I mean, yeah. At the end of the day, yeah. But I mean, at the same time, it's like, bro, like
that's you, bro.
I mean, but it's, I feel like it's deeper than that, bro. Like the fact that you are really allowing yourself to,
That's
No.
not
But no. I don't think
Especially when
it's
people
insecurity.
know about that shit too,
It's
bro.
like no. It's dead ass. Like what you're comfortable with. That's at the end of the day. It's really what you're
nobody's
comfortable with.
comfortable getting cheated
I
on.
don't
It's
think
No,
It's
not cheated on. But like sometimes for people, ignorance is bliss.
true.
Like
not knowing, don't.
yeah, I don't like if you tell me he's doing this, that, and the third, or if you tell me she's doing this, that, and the third, that's just gonna ruin shit for me. I'd rather not know and then sort of continue in
So
this
then
sort
what's
of
all
like.
this trust thing that we're speaking of? Please, I beg.
But what I'm saying is, it doesn't necessarily have to be trust. Like, what I'm saying is, at certain point, you just gotta let like niggas live. Like, you gotta let niggas rock.
Let
like,
niggas leave. Hey,
Like, you gotta like let people.
No, I mean,
rock.
I understand. Okay, and to kind of like put everything together, I understand the concept of being able to give people the liberty to make their own decisions. But I also get Auntie's standpoint of being able to state your concerns, and as a significant other, being able to acknowledge those concerns and act accordingly if you would like. But like I said, have the liberty / freedom to say, yo, I'm a grown ass man. Like, you know what I'm saying? I respect my shorty, so I'm gonna act this way. Because,
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? She stated she's not feeling comfortable about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think.
No, I was strictly talking about the people that wouldn't care to know what your opinions are about their like significant other is what I'm talking about.
I feel you.
Like if you don't care to know what like XYZ's opinions are about like their like the person I'm in a relationship with, I'd rather you just not tell me. I'd rather just live in the ignorance. Because that is bliss to me.
That's a very interesting. I mean, people like that definitely exist for sure, though. But I am not that type of nigga. Anyways, all right. So, man, we talking for quite some time, ladies and gentlemen. We talking for over. This is definitely going to be the longest episode, episode 9 of the JID podcast, man. Once again, the question was: do you believe that having single friends of the opposite sex leads to infidelity in a relationship? Yes or no? We had young Draco on the show as well as Auntie. Y'all know the vibes, man. Once again, this is episode 9. Follow your boy on social media at Joe the Great, JOETHEGR 8, as well as my podcast page, man. Shameless plug. I'm telling y'all this every single week. That's j.ide.pod. Once again, this is episode 9, ladies and gentlemen. We out.